Let me tell you something. Are people in this world who see differently. While others walk by sight, a seer walks by vision. A seer is not just looking at what's in front of them. They are looking through it, beyond it, ahead of it. And if you are one of those people, if you feel it in your bones, in your spirit, then this message is for you. So how do you know? What are the signs? Let me tell you something. Are people in this world who see differently. While others walk by sight, a seer walks by vision. A seer doesn't just see what's in front of them. They see through it, beyond it, ahead of it. They notice what others overlook, sense what others ignore, and feel what others dismiss. If you're one of them, you already know it. Even if you haven't put it into words, deep down, something in your spirit has always whispered that you were different. It's not just that you observe the world. You interpret it, you discern it, you feel the movement of things before they happen. It starts early. Maybe as a child, you would sit quietly in a room full of people and just watch, not in a passive way, not just hearing the words that were spoken, but sensing the unspoken. You knew when someone was lying, when someone was hurting, when someone's laughter wasn't real. You picked up on the subtle shifts in energy, the flicker of emotion in someone's eyes before they even knew what they were feeling. Others might have called you overly sensitive, too deep, too serious. They didn't understand that your sensitivity wasn't a weakness, it was insight. You weren't just watching people, you were reading them. You were feeling their energy, absorbing the weight of their spirit. And it didn't stop there. The way you see the world is different. Walk down the street, and while most people just see buildings, cars, and faces, you see stories, patterns, connections. You pick up on the smallest details, someone's body language, the way a conversation shifts, the way a situation unfolds before anything even happens. It's like your mind processes things on a deeper level. Sometimes it feels like you're a step ahead, like you know what's coming before it arrives. Maybe you've had moments where you said something was off before anyone else did. You knew that a friend was in trouble before they ever said a word. You felt the tension in a room before it exploded. You saw the change in the atmosphere before anything even shifted. And then there are the dreams. They are not ordinary. They are vivid, powerful, sometimes unsettling. You dream of places you've never been, people you've never met, events that haven't happened yet. And then one day you see something in real life that you know you've already seen before. It's not déjà vu. It's something else entirely. It's as if a part of you already knew what was coming. You wake up from dreams that leave an imprint on your soul. Sometimes you don't even understand them, but you feel their significance. Maybe you've even had moments where a dream warned you, guided you, prepared you for something. That's not just your mind wandering in the night, that's insight. That's revelation. But it's not just in dreams. Even when you're awake, you sense things before they happen. You've had moments where something inside you whispered, "Don't go there," or "Wait, hold on." And later, you realize that decision kept you from harm. You've had feelings that made no logical sense, yet turned out to be true. Some call it intuition, but for you, it's more than that. It's a deep, unshakable knowing. It's like an inner compass, a voice that doesn't shout, but speaks with certainty. And it's not just for you, because when you see things, you feel the pull to share them, to help others, to warn them, to guide them. People sense this in you. That's why they come to you. That's why strangers open up to you without knowing why. That's why friends call you when they're lost, confused, or broken. They know you have insight that others don't. They can feel that you don't just hear them, you understand them. You don't just listen to their words, you feel their emotions. You read between the lines. You see beyond what they're saying. You've always been the person people confide in because they know consciously or unconsciously that you carry wisdom. Not the kind you get from books, but the kind that comes from something greater. But with that gift comes a weight. There are days when you feel exhausted, drained, overwhelmed, because seeing deeply means carrying deeply. It means you feel things more intensely than others do. When the world hurts, you hurt. When there's darkness around, you sense it. When people are in pain, you don't just sympathize, you carry some of that weight with you. There are days you wish you could turn it off, silence it, just exist without constantly feeling so much. But that's not who you are. You weren't made to walk blindly through life. You were given sight for a reason. And because of that, you find yourself craving quiet, stillness, solitude, not because you dislike people, but because you need space to process everything you see and feel. You need time to sit with your thoughts, to sort through what's yours and what's coming from everything around you. There are moments when the world feels too loud, too chaotic, too overwhelming, and so you retreat, not in weakness, but in strength. Because clarity comes in the quiet, revelation comes in the stillness. And deep down, you know that the insights you receive aren't just for you. You're not meant to keep them to yourself. You feel it inside you, this calling, this pull towards something greater. You weren't given this sight for no reason. You weren't given this gift to sit on it. A seer doesn't just witness the future, they shape it. Your dreams are not random. They are messages. You wake up sometimes feeling like you've just lived another life in your sleep. The images, the places, the people, they feel real. More real than they should. You see things in your dreams before they happen, and sometimes you don't understand them until the moment arrives. A conversation, a location, a face you've never seen before but somehow recognize. It happens, and suddenly you remember you dreamt this. But you don't just see ordinary dreams, there's weight to them. They don't fade the moment you open your eyes. They stay with you, lingering in your thoughts, pressing on your spirit, almost demanding to be understood. You dream of things that don't make sense in the moment, but later they do. You've had dreams that felt so significant you couldn't ignore them, and later you realize they weren't just your mind wandering in the night. They were preparing you for something. They were giving you insight. They were warning you, guiding you, opening your eyes to something beyond what's visible. Sometimes the meaning is clear as day. Other times it's like a puzzle that only reveals itself piece by piece. But deep down, you know these dreams are different. They carry something divine, something powerful, something beyond the ordinary. It's not just that you dream, it's that your dreams hold weight. You wake up and you remember the details with precision. Colors, numbers, symbols, words. People who don't dream like this don't understand it. They say, oh, it's just your mind playing tricks on you. But you know better. You've seen too much, experienced too much to dismiss it as coincidence. You've had dreams that came true, dreams that confirmed something you felt, dreams that spoke to you in a way that no one else could. And there's something else. It's not just the dreams themselves, it's the way they make you feel. There are nights when you wake up in a cold sweat, heart pounding, because the dream was too real. There are mornings when you wake up with a heavy spirit, because you saw something in your sleep that shook you. You've had dreams that leave you restless, uneasy, burdened, as if you just carried something back from another realm. And then there are the dreams that fill you with peace, that bring clarity, that confirm what you already knew in your heart. It doesn't stop when you wake up. There are times when you're going about your day and suddenly you remember something from a dream weeks ago, months ago, even years ago. And in that moment, it clicks. You realize you were being prepared for this exact moment long before it happened. Some people only see life as it unfolds in real time, but not you. You see it before it happens. You feel it before it arrives. And it's not just the dreams. It's the way they connect to your reality. You've experienced moments where life seems to align too perfectly with something you saw in your sleep. A person speaks words you already heard before. A place feels familiar even though you've never been there. A warning you didn't fully understand suddenly makes sense. There have been moments when your dreams revealed truth before it was spoken. Moments when they confirmed what you needed to hear. Moments when they showed you what was hidden from the natural eye. You've learned not to ignore them. You've learned that when a dream is strong enough, you need to pay attention. You've learned that when something is shown to you, there's a reason. Maybe you've even started writing them down, keeping track, looking for patterns, trying to understand what they mean. Because this isn't just imagination, it's revelation. And revelation requires understanding. Not everyone has this. Not everyone experiences this. Some people close their eyes, sleep, and wake up with nothing but darkness in between. But not you. Your nights are filled with visions, messages, moments of clarity wrapped in mystery. Your spirit knows things before your mind does. Your heart feels truths before your lips can speak them. And maybe you've wondered why. Why do you dream like this? Why do these things come to you? Why do you see things that others don't? It's not random. It's not meaningless. If you see, it's because you were meant to see. If you dream, it's because you were meant to understand. If something is being shown to you, it's because you have a role in it. Some people walk through life only seeing the physical, but your vision goes deeper. You weren't given this for no reason. You weren't given these dreams just to ignore them. You weren't given this sight just to keep it to yourself. Strangers open up to you without knowing why. You've seen it happen over and over again. A person you barely know starts talking, sharing things they haven't told anyone else. They sit across from you, and before they realize it, they've told you their struggles, their fears, their secrets. They look at you almost in disbelief, saying, asterisk, I don't know why I'm telling you this, asterisk, but you know, it happens because they sense something in you. It happens because people can feel when they're in the presence of someone who understands, someone who listens beyond words, someone who sees deeper than the surface. You have a presence that makes people feel safe. It's not something you try to do. It's just there. People are drawn to you because they sense something different. They know you're not just hearing them, you're understanding them. They know you're not just nodding along, you're feeling what they're feeling. And it's not just the words they say, it's the things they don't say. You pick up on the pauses, the shifts in their voice, the weight behind their silence. You know when someone is saying asterisk, I'm fine, asterisk, but really means asterisk, I'm breaking inside. Asterisk. Ask. You know when there's pain behind the laughter. You've always been that person. The one people come to for advice. They call when they're confused, when they need guidance, when they feel lost. It doesn't matter if it's a close friend or a stranger sitting next to you on a plane. The moment they start talking, they feel understood in a way they didn't expect. They walk away from the conversation feeling lighter, feeling seen, because that's what you do. You see people in a way they're not used to being seen. You see beyond the image they project. You see the truth beneath the surface. And it's not just that you listen well, it's that your words carry weight. When you speak, people feel it. Your advice isn't just casual, it's profound. You say things that cut straight to the heart of the matter. You have a way of putting things into words that others have only felt, but never been able to express. Sometimes you say exactly what someone needed to hear at the exact moment they needed to hear it. Not because you planned it, not because you thought about it beforehand, but because it was given to you in that moment. Because the right words find you when you need them. because wisdom flows through you in a way that even you can't explain. It's not something you learn from books. It's not something you trained yourself to do. It's something that has always been there, something that has grown with you, developed in you. Maybe you didn't always recognize it for what it was, but the signs have always been there. You've always been the one people turn to when they need clarity. You've always been the voice of reason in the chaos. You've always been the one who sees the situation from a perspective others missed. And there are moments when you feel the weight of it, because carrying this kind of insight isn't always easy. Sometimes you wish you didn't feel so much. Sometimes you wish you didn't know things before they were spoken. Sometimes you wish you didn't pick up on the burdens of others as if they were your own, because that's what happens. When someone shares their pain with you, you don't just hear it, you feel it. You carry it with you. You think about it long after the conversation is ended. It stays with you in a way that most people don't understand. You take on the emotions of those around you, and at times it can be overwhelming. That's why you crave solitude. That's why you need time alone. Not because you dislike people, but because you need space to breathe. You need moments of stillness to clear your mind, to process everything you've absorbed, to release the weight you've carried. There are days when you feel emotionally exhausted, not because of anything happening in your own life, but because of the energy you've absorbed from others. And the truth is, not everyone understands that. Not everyone realizes how much you carry, how much you hold inside, how much you take in without even trying. But despite the weight, you wouldn't trade this gift, because it is a gift. The ability to see people as they truly are, the ability to give words that heal, that restore, that bring peace, the ability to be a light in someone's darkest moment, the ability to hear the unspoken and understand the unseen. It's a gift that not everyone has, and it's a gift that the world needs. There are people walking around feeling invisible, feeling unheard, feeling like no one understands them. And then they meet you, and suddenly feel so alone anymore. You don't have to try to be this person. You don't have to force it. It's already who you are. It's why people feel comfortable around you. It's why they trust you without knowing why. It's why they walk away from a conversation with you feeling different than they did before. Because when they speak, you don't just hear them, you see them. And in a world where so many people feel unseen, that is powerful. That is rare. That is needed. You've always been different. Even when you try to blend in, about you stands out. It's not because you're louder or because you demand attention. It's because there's something in you that people notice, even if they can't put it into words. You walk into a room and people look, not always because of how you look, but because of what you carry. There's an energy around you, a presence that shifts the atmosphere. You don't even have to say much, people just feel it. They sense something about you, something unexplained, something they can't quite define. You felt this for as long as you can remember. Maybe you couldn't name it, maybe you didn't fully understand it, but you knew. You knew there was something about you that made you see the world differently. While others are caught up in the surface, you've always been drawn to what's underneath. While people get lost in distractions, you've always had an awareness of something deeper, something bigger. You don't just go through life reacting to what's in front of you. You sense what's coming. You pick up on what's unseen. And people don't always know how to handle that. Some are drawn to you, fascinated by the way you see things, amazed at your insight. Others don't understand you at all. They think you're too deep, too intense, too serious. They dismiss what you say because they can't see what you see. You've had moments where you've spoken the truth, where you've warned someone, where you've shared what was on your heart, and they brushed it off only to realize later that you were right all along. You've seen things before they happened, sensed things before they unfolded, known things you had no logical way of knowing. And that hasn't always been easy. It can feel isolating to see what others don't. It can feel frustrating when people don't listen. when they don't take your words seriously, when they look at you like you're imagining things. But deep down, you know what you know. You've learned to trust what you see, even when others don't. You've learned that just because people don't understand your insight doesn't mean it's not real. There have been times when you've doubted yourself, times when you wondered if you were overthinking, if you were too sensitive, if you should just ignore the things you feel so strongly. But every time you try to suppress it, it comes back stronger. You can't ignore who you are. You can't unsee what you see. You can't silence the voice inside you that picks up on things long before they're revealed. And because of that, you found yourself in situations where you feel disconnected from others. You're in a room full of people, but you don't feel like you belong. You hear the conversations, but they don't move you. You see the way people chase after things that don't matter, and you wonder why they can't see what's really important. It's not that you think you're better than them, it's just that you see differently. While others get caught up in the temporary, you're focused on the eternal. While they chase after approval, you're looking for purpose. While they get distracted by the noise, you're searching for meaning. You've always been drawn to something greater. You feel a calling. Even if you don't fully understand what it is, you know you were meant for more, even if you don't yet know exactly what that more looks like. There's something inside you that refuses to settle, that won't let you just go through the motions like everyone else. You're not satisfied with shallow living. You crave depth, truth, revelation. You seek understanding beyond what's obvious. You know there's a bigger picture, a greater purpose, a divine reason behind everything. And because of that, you've had seasons where you felt like an outsider. You've had times when you felt alone, when you felt misunderstood, when you question why you see the world the way you do. But deep down, you know this isn't a flaw. This isn't a burden. This is a gift. You were created to see beyond the surface. You were given insight for a reason. You were meant to walk in wisdom, in discernment, in vision. Not everyone will understand you, and that's okay. Not everyone will believe you, and that's okay. Not everyone will appreciate what you bring, and that's okay. Because the right people, the ones who are meant to hear what you have to say, will recognize it. They will see the value in your perspective. They will be drawn to the wisdom you carry. They will recognize that what you have is rare, that what you see is important. You weren't meant to fit in. You weren't meant to go unnoticed. You weren't meant to suppress your gift just because it makes others uncomfortable. You were meant to see, to lead, to speak, to walk in the truth. You were meant to be a light, to bring clarity, to help others navigate what they can't yet understand. The very thing that makes you different is the thing that makes you powerful. The very thing that sets you apart is the thing that gives you purpose. This isn't a mistake. This isn't an accident. You are exactly who you were meant to be. You see what you see for a reason. You feel what you feel for a reason. You were given this gift because you were meant to use it. You weren't meant to shrink back. You weren't meant to stay silent. You weren't meant to ignore what's been placed inside you. You were meant to stand, to embrace your vision, to walk boldly in the calling that's been set before you. There are moments when you just know things. No one told you. You didn't read it in a book. You didn't overhear it in a conversation. But deep in your spirit, it's like a whisper that isn't spoken with words, but is louder than any voice around you. It's not a guess. It's not a hunch. It's certainty. You don't always understand how you know, you just do. And time proves you right again and again. It happens when you meet people. You can sense their energy before they even speak. You can feel if something is off, if their words don't match their spirit. You know when someone is hiding something, even when they smile. You know when someone is genuine, even when they don't say much. There have been times when you looked at a person and something inside you said, be careful. Maybe you didn't listen at first. Maybe you gave them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you ignored that small voice inside you. But later you realized you should have trusted it. Because what you felt was real. What you sensed was true. It's not just with people. You can walk into a place and immediately pick up on the atmosphere. The energy in the room tells you everything you need to know. You can sense tension before an argument starts. You can feel peace in places where others don't notice it. It's like your spirit is always scanning, always reading, always perceiving things beyond what's obvious. It's not something you try to do, it's just how you are. You've had moments when you felt something coming before it happened. You didn't know the details, but you knew a shift was near. Maybe it was excitement in your spirit before a breakthrough. Maybe it was heaviness before a storm. Maybe it was restlessness when everything seemed fine, but something in you was unsettled. You've learned that those feelings aren't random. They are signals, warnings, confirmations. People have asked you, how did you know? And the truth is, you can't explain it. You just knew. It wasn't logic. It wasn't reason. It was something deeper, something beyond the natural, something spiritual. You don't have to see proof before you believe it. You don't need evidence before you understand. Your spirit picks up on things before they manifest. You sense what's unseen. You've learned to trust it. There was a time when you doubted yourself, when you second-guessed what you felt, when you let others talk you out of what you knew deep inside. But experience has shown you that your intuition is rarely wrong. You've seen what happens when you ignore it. You've learned that when your spirit is speaking, it's for a reason. Not everyone understands this. Some people only believe what they can see with their eyes. They rely on facts, on what's obvious, on what makes sense. But you were given a different kind of vision. You see in ways others don't. You understand things they can't grasp yet. And because of that, you've had moments when people dismissed you. They didn't believe what you were saying until it was too late. They ignored your warnings until they came true. They didn't recognize your insight until time proved you right. But you don't need validation to trust what you know. You don't need approval to walk in what you've been given. You weren't meant to explain everything to everyone. You weren't meant to convince people who can't see what you see. Your gift is not for everyone to understand. It's for you to use. It's for you to walk in. And it's not just about knowing things, it's about what you do with that knowledge. It's about how you use your insight to help others, how you use your discernment to navigate your own life, how you allow your spirit to guide you, to warn you, to lead you. You've learned that when something feels off, it usually is. When something feels right, there's a reason. When something in you is saying wait or move or let go, it's wisdom speaking. There have been times when you felt led to avoid something, and later you realize it saved you from trouble. There have been moments when you felt an urgency to do something, and later you saw why it mattered. There have been times when everything looked good on the surface, but something in you said no, and you trusted it even when others didn't understand. You don't operate on guesswork. You don't move blindly. You are guided by something greater. You don't just see with your eyes, you see with your spirit. And that's not something everyone has. That's not something you should take lightly. That's not something you should ignore. People will question you. They will challenge what you say. They will ask for explanations that you can't always give. But you don't owe them proof. You don't owe them explanations. The truth will reveal itself in time. The things you know will come to light. And when they do, you won't be surprised. Because you saw it long before anyone else did. Because you already knew. Because this is who you are. There's something about you that doesn't fit into the usual mold. No matter how much you try to blend in, to go along with what everyone else is doing, to live a so-called normal life, something inside you won't allow it. You feel things too deeply. You notice what others overlook. You pick up on the subtle, the hidden, the unspoken, where most people only see what's in front of them. You see what's beneath, what's behind, what's coming. You see the patterns, the connections, the signs that others miss. You don't just look at life, you perceive it. It's not just about being observant. It's not just about being aware. It's about having an inner knowing that goes beyond what can be explained. You walk into a situation and you already feel what's happening before a word is spoken. You sense the tension in a room before anyone reacts. You know when someone is genuine and when someone is wearing a mask. You can read between the lines of what people say and hear the truth behind their words. You see people for who they really are, even when they don't see it themselves. This gift has been with you for as long as you can remember. As a child, you may not have understood it, but you felt it. You felt the energy shift when certain people walked into the room. You knew when something was wrong, even when no one said a word. You felt drawn to things others ignored, pulled toward understanding things that others took for granted. While others were focused on what was happening on the surface, you were already thinking about the meaning behind it. It hasn't always been easy. Sometimes you've questioned yourself. You've wondered if you're just imagining things, if you're reading too much into situations, if you should just ignore what you feel. But every time you've tried to push it away, it only came back stronger. You've had moments when you ignored your intuition, only to regret it later. You've learned that the feelings you get, the insights that come to you, are not random. They are part of who you are. People don't always understand this about you. Some see your depth and find it overwhelming. Others don't believe you when you say you sense something coming. They only understand once it happens. They only recognize the truth in hindsight. They only appreciate your insight after time has proven you right. And by then, you've already moved on, already seen what's next, already shifted your focus to what's ahead. You don't just live in the moment, you live in what's beyond it. You have dreams that feel more real than reality. You have visions that stay with you long after you wake up. You have flashes of insight that you can't explain, but you know they mean something. You've seen things in your spirit before they've come to pass. You felt something shifting before the change arrived. You've sensed when someone was about to enter or exit your life before it happened. You know things without needing evidence. You understand things without having to analyze them. Your wisdom comes from something deeper than knowledge. It comes from revelation. And because of that, you've learned to trust your instincts. You've learned that when something doesn't feel right, there's a reason. When something feels urgent, there's a purpose. When your spirit is speaking, it's guiding you towards something important. This gift is not just for you. It's meant to be used, to be shared, to help others. There have been times when you've spoken a word to someone and they were shocked by how much it resonated. You've said things without knowing why, only to find out later that it was exactly what that person needed to hear. You've helped people see what they couldn't see on their own. You've given insight that changed the course of someone's life. And yet, you've had to learn when to speak and when to stay silent. Not everyone is ready to hear what you have to say. Not everyone will accept what you see. Some will doubt you. Some will dismiss you. Some will try to make you question yourself. But the truth remains, whether they accept it or not. The vision remains, whether they believe it or not. The insight remains, whether they recognize it or not. You weren't meant to walk like everyone else. You weren't meant to think like everyone else. You weren't meant to see like everyone else. You were given this gift because you are meant to use it. You are meant to lead, to guide, to bring clarity where there is confusion. You are meant to trust what has been placed inside you. You are meant to walk with confidence in the vision you've been given. There will be moments when people will come to you looking for answers, seeking direction, needing the insight that only you can provide. And when that time comes, you'll know exactly what to say, because you've already seen it, because you've already felt it, because you were prepared for this long before it arrived. This is not a coincidence. This is not an accident. This is what you were created for. There comes a time when you must fully embrace who you are, no longer questioning the depth of what you see, no longer second guessing the way you understand things before they unfold. You were never meant to live in doubt about the insight you have been given. You were never meant to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that do not recognize your vision. You were created to walk with confidence in the gift that sets you apart. The journey of a seer is not always easy. There will be moments when you feel the weight of what you carry, the burden of knowing things others do not yet see, the responsibility that comes with understanding the hidden meanings behind situations. You will have times when your vision is questioned, when your warnings are ignored, when your insights are dismissed. But you must not let that shake you. The truth remains whether or not people accept it. The vision is real whether or not they recognize it. You have seen how things unfold when you trust what has been placed inside you. You have witnessed the power of your discernment, the accuracy of what you feel, the way your spirit leads you exactly where you need to be. This is not a coincidence. This is not luck. This is the way you were designed to navigate life. And the more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. There will always be those who do not understand. Some people are not ready to see beyond what is in front of them. Some will resist what they do not understand. Some will question what they cannot perceive. But you must stand firm in what you know. You must walk boldly in your calling. You must honor the gift you have been given, not only for yourself, but for those who will one day need the clarity that only you can provide. Your vision is not just about you. It is not meant to be kept to yourself. It is meant to bring light to others. It is meant to bring wisdom to those who seek it. It is meant to guide those who are lost, to encourage those who are unsure, to protect those who do not yet see the dangers ahead. You were given this sight because you have the strength to carry it. You have the wisdom to use it. You have the courage to stand in it, even when others do not understand. And so you must move forward with confidence, no longer questioning yourself, no longer doubting what you feel, no longer explaining your vision to those who refuse to see. Walk in the fullness of who you are. Trust the way you were designed. Follow the insight that has never failed you. You were never meant to walk blindly through life. You were meant to see. You were meant to understand. You were meant to lead. And no matter who doubts you, no matter who questions you, no matter who fails to recognize the power of your vision, you must never forget the truth of who you are. Stand firm in your calling. Trust in your sight. Walk boldly in your gift. The world may not always understand you, but it needs you. And when the time comes, when the moment is right, when the vision you have been given comes to pass, they will see what you saw all along. They will understand what you knew before it happened. And they will know that you were never just guessing, never just imagining, never just making things up. You were always seeing what was real. You were always walking in truth. You were always meant to be exactly who you are. So step forward with courage. Embrace your gift fully. Trust in what you know, because the world needs seers. The world needs visionaries. The world needs those who can see beyond the present moment and prepare for what is to come. And you were created for this. If you recognize these signs in yourself, don't run from them, embrace them. The world needs seers. The world needs you. Step into it, walk in it, own it. Because when a seer steps into their calling, they don't just see the future, they shape it.